Hey, happy Father's Day to all you dads out there. Hope and pray that you didn't just have a good day, but a great weekend, a whole great week as we celebrate dads and honor you for everything you are to us. Hey, it only feels like yesterday, but I can hardly believe it's been 3 decades now that we brought home our first newborn. Man, it was like 10 and a half months after Natalie and I got married, and we brought home this little bundle of joy. I mean, I was just getting used to being responsible as a husband, and now I was a father. I mean, I was kind of like excited but stunned. I was happy but yet scared. I had all these emotions inside of me because I realized that I had this awesome responsibility to represent something so much more than just a dad, but I had the responsibility to represent actually God the Father to this daughter of mine. And since then, five kids later, I'm still doing that after all these years later. So here we are today, and I just want to share with you, like, what does it take? Where can we get to competence? Where do we get to skills? Where do we get all these things that bring confidence to be the dads that God asked us to be, but also be the man of God that He has asked me to be as well? Hey, I want to launch today out of Genesis chapter 1. That's right, Genesis chapter 1, verse 27. Here it is. So God created human beings in His own image. In the image of God, He created them. Male and female, He created them. That's right. It was God's idea to create male and female. But in both of these, later on in the verse, in verse 31, then God looked over all that He made, male and female, and He saw that it was very good. You know, I just want to speak to the men right here and say that when God created you as a man, listen, He looks at you and He says, this is good. At Bridge City Church, we are going to unapologetically be pro-man and pro-women. Listen, that's who we are because we are created in God's image. So I want to speak to your hearts today as men, and I want to say that when God created you, it was good. We're not going to put you down. We're not going to beat you up. We're going to build you up to see that you live your full potential in Christ. So here, as we start, let's just give a definition for a man. I don't know that this is a perfect definition, but it's the one that I'm going to use. A man is an image bearer, a son of God, entrusted with power and responsibility to represent God in His world for God's glory and for the good of others. That's right. As a man, I'm an image bearer for God. That's right. I'm a son and an image bearer, and I do everything. I've been trusted with power and responsibility to demonstrate God's glory here on this earth. What a great, awesome responsibility. That's what we do as men of God. Now, I can share personally that over the years as a man, that it's easy to get fixated on my shortcomings. To be honest, that there very rarely is a time that I'm not experiencing tensions, the failure of insecurity. The times I go maybe are a little too quiet, and there's times that maybe I speak out a little too much. There's times that I do all of these things, and it's easy to feel like I don't have enough time, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough talent to do what it really takes to be a man of God. And there's this tension, a tension between passivity and anger. There's these tensions that I sometimes feel as a man. And what do I do with it? How do I do this? And I think I can learn from Jesus. Because Jesus had a plan to follow, a plan from God, His Father, just like I, as a man, have a plan to follow. That's right, a plan. And Jesus had a woman to love, and I know what you're thinking. Wait a minute, Pastor, where are you going there? His church, His bride, that He loved and laid His life down for. But He also had a purpose worth dying for, and that's God's children. That's you and me. And so that's the same thing that I have. I have a plan to follow. I have a woman to love. and a family to demonstrate that love to. And I have a purpose worth laying my life down, demonstrating God's glory to others here. So here we go. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 2 in the Old Testament. And we're just going to read a couple verses today just about King David. And he's saying some things to his son Solomon. And this is at the end of his days here. So in 1 Kings chapter 2, verse 1, as the time of King David's death approached, he gave this charge to his son Solomon. I am going where everyone on earth must someday go. Take courage and be a man. Take courage. If you want to see an expanded version of this, you would need to go to 1 Chronicles chapter 28 and 29. There's a lot more said. These are kind of a condensed version here. This is like the man's version. Like no extra stuff, just straight to the point here. Now, David knows he's about to die, and he gives a charge to his son here because he knows he's living with the end in mind. Do you know what's good every now and then to do? Is do the funeral test. That's right. Think about what you once said as a man, but as a woman, you can do this too. Think about what you once said at your funeral and then live that life. Maybe just jot down maybe 3 to 5 things that you definitely want to be known for, and then write that down because our end is it's true for everybody. But we get to decide the legacy that we live. Now, what I'm about to communicate to you, and I have to give props where they're due here. There's a great book that I read. Matter of fact, it's the best book that I read in the last year. It's called The Intentional Father by Jon Tyson. And many of the ideas and concepts that I'm about to share with you come from this book. So I want to give credit where credit is due. I tweaked some of them for my communication purposes, but I just wanted to just clearly state this is where it comes from here. Now, there are 4 types of fathers, 4 types of dads out there. Number 1, there's the irresponsible. 0 involvement, they bailed out. Number 2 is the ignorant. He just doesn't know how to be a father, and he doesn't try to learn to even be better. He projects his own brokenness onto his kids. There's the inconsistent. He's capable of doing better, but personal ambition, maybe for job or career or hobbies, takes over, and he binges on selfishness rather than servanthood. Number 4 is there's the involved. He shows up. He speaks up. But maybe business life, maybe some other things, maybe like pulls him away a little bit. And there's times where he's pulled away, and there's times he jumps back in. He's involved. But number 5, and this is where we're all trying to be, is an intentional father. That's right, an intentional father that's deeply invested into discovering the potential of their children and want to see them live that potential. And this call of God, being a real man, is central in their life. That's what we're all trying to be. So let me say 2 things. There's many of you right now that are listening that didn't have an ideal father. You didn't have an intentional father. You didn't have an involved one. You don't have to live with the scars and pain of your past. You don't have to live there. You can live, listen, in freedom. Now, the way we did it in our home was this. Our kids could blame us for all of their problems until they were 21. And at 21 years old, they had to own it. And I'm here to tell you today, you can not only own it, you can get free from the hurts and the pain of your past, of maybe an absentee father or an uninvolved one or inconsistent. Listen, you can do that. But number 2, I want to speak to the dads out there. Maybe you're feeling inconsistent. Maybe you're feeling ignorant. I want to let you know you don't have to stay there. You can step up. You can be the man of God God's created you to be, because there's a potential inside of you. That's right, there is. And why do we want to be intentional? And I believe that's where all of us can live. We can learn competency and skills so that we can get confidence in who we are as a man of God and as a father, because I know that we can. Why do we want to be intentional? Because this world and our culture is intentional about blurring the lines between male and female. Our culture is being intentional about destroying the image of man. And why is this important? Because we were made in God's image. And if our culture and our world is being that intentional, we need to be even more intentional. We need to have more of a resolve here. So no matter where you are, you can step up as a dad and as a man of God. Hey, let's go to verse 3 here in 1 Kings chapter 2. Observe the requirements of the Lord your God. This is what David is communicating to Solomon here. And follow all of his ways. Keep the decrees, commands, regulations, and laws written in the law of Moses so that you will be successful in all you do wherever you go. Man, isn't that what we want for our kids in the next generation, is to be successful? That's what we all want here. Listen, be strong. He says, listen, be a man. Listen, this is what I want you to do. Be courageous. Don't be afraid to step into chaos and bring order out of it here. Listen, we're living in a world full of fear and depression and anxiety. But we can be confident of what God wants us to do, and we can pass on that confidence to our children. Hey, all you parents out there, but specifically dads, I want to help you right now. I'm going to give you 3 significant points that are going to help you give success to your children. That's right, setting your kids up for success. Here's those 3 big ideas right now. I want to help you with this, so let me do this for you. Number 1, what do we want our kids to know? I want you to spend time and make a list. What do you want them to know? Know about God, know about themselves, know about life, know about the opposite sex, know about work. What do you want them to know? Number 2, what do you want them to be? What kind of character, what kind of integrity do you want them to have? Number 3 is, what skills do you want them to have? What practical skills? Balancing a checkbook, how to do a resume, how to practically take care of a home, how to do laundry, how to cook for themselves, how to shop. These are practical skills. Now see, I want to help you. If you want your kids to have success, determine those 3 things in writing and make a list. What do we want them to know? What do we want them to be? And listen, and what skills practically do we want them to have? When we put those 3 things together, we can set our kids up for success. I hope and pray that you parents out there, but specifically you dads, are going to spend some time making these lists and then making them happen on a regular visit. You see, David, when he was writing this, he had the end in mind. He said, I'm out of here. This is his graduation day. He's leaving this earth here, and he wants them to pass something on to them. But may I suggest to you something else? Think about what you want your kids to be when they leave your house. What do you want them to know? What do you want them to practical skills to be living? I can remember, it seems like all our kids lived at home, and then all of a sudden we had just a short amount of time where they all left our home in significant big ways. I remember driving our oldest daughter to the airport where she was going to study abroad for 4 months, and she was getting on a plane. I remember crying as I drove her to the airport. But I remember, did I give her enough of these 3 things? And then our son, when he moved to California, it was just a big move. And I remember driving him to the airport, and he was off. Our next son going off to the Air Force. Our next daughter, when she left home, she went to Africa for 6 months on missions. And our next daughter going on a mission trip domestically here and leaving for months at a time. Listen, when we were in the thick of it, we couldn't imagine them leaving. But I'm so thankful for what we did practically and what we did to get them to know character and integrity, but also know about God and life and all these things. What I just communicated to you works. And when we work that system, we send them out for success. Here's a quote for you. Manhood is the defeat of childhood narcissism. Wow. That's right. Manhood is the defeat, because we grow up as men So I want to share with you some things about how do we become the man of God that God's designed for us here. Now, I gave you some practical things as a father. Now, I want to speak to all men right now, unashamedly, unapologetically, about being a man and being a man of God here. See, so here's the big idea. Here's the big idea that comes from John Tyson here. This is it. We can either be a good man or be good at being a man. Wow. I think too often all we want to be is a good man. Wow, if I could just have a good reputation. I just want to be a good man. And a good man just has maybe a different persona or a different idea. To me, it doesn't have anything like big and grandiose. It doesn't pull me into the bigger picture with God. It kind of leaves me hanging a little bit like, I'm not sure what this means here. So no, I don't just want to be a good man. I want to be good at being a man. That's right, God's man. So how do we do that? Listen, I just don't want to be good. I want to be all those things. So it's going to require discipleship and development. That's right. I'm going to need to be discipled. I need to develop as a man. It's going to require specific advice and skills. That's right. I was born very selfish, but manhood defeats narcissism, and I don't want to be a narcissist. I want to be God's man, made in His image, a son of God, okay? I demonstrate with power and responsibility, I demonstrate His glory to my wife, to my kids, and to those around me, and to this world here. But when we lack competence, we lack confidence. And we want to be intentional about being a man. That's it. See, let me just give you two things here. We got to be fully present in our families. Those 5 definitions of a man, they're about being fully present. And then I need to be absolutely, completely intentional about being a man here. Now listen, here's a quote here. If there is no struggle, there is no progress. There will not be progress without a struggle. Wow, what a great quote from Frederick Douglass. Now listen, I don't know about you, I need some practical help. I don't just need a pep talk. Come on, you can do it, you can make it, you can do it. But I need to know practical skills. What do I need to do to make progress, and what is the struggle? So I'm going to give it to you here in 5 rules of manhood from a book, Adam's Return. And I'm going to give these to you blunt force trauma here. If you like things blunt, this is it. This is for you here. Life is hard. This will work for your kids as well. Boy or girl here. Life is hard. Number 2, you are not important. Your life is not about you. You are not in control, and you are going to die. There it is. 5 rules of manhood here. Come on, that's just like giving it to you just the way we need it here. But these are so contrary to what our culture tells us about self-fulfillment. Find fulfillment in yourself. Be the best you. You do whatever you want to do. This flies in the face of just have a dream. And if you follow your dream, you're going to get whatever you want. Listen, I can dream all I want about playing in the NFL. I'm not playing in the NFL, nor am I going to walk on the moon. I can dream about that all day. I'm not going to live my dream. I'm going to live God's dream. That's the dream I'm going to live here. See, we're taught in life, in our culture, that life should be easy, that we should be in control, that we are the center of the universe and we can live forever. Listen, these are the things that we're taught. But I know that I don't find my worth in these things. These concepts that I'm giving to you, which I believe are very biblical in nature here, about following God's decrees, His statutes, His ordinances, His laws. They're perfect and they bring success. So here's 5 seismic shifts. 5 seismic shifts to take in creating a good concept of manhood in our lives here. So here it is. It's a shift. It's a shift. We have to go from thinking that life should be easy to difficult. That's right. We were created to step into life, step into chaos, and bring order. That's what we were created to be. Jesus said life's going to be hard. Jesus said tribulations are going to happen. Jesus promised offenses that are going to happen. And so many times we're just trying to make life easy, but we really realize that, listen, it's a shift, and this is being a man. I got to go from life is easy to like it's difficult, and that's okay. Life becomes difficult, but God can get us through here. Number 2, boys care about themselves, men care about others. That's right. Boys are consumed with themselves. They're consumed with whatever they want, and I want it now. Men, however, care about others. I mean, Jesus in Matthew 16 said to Peter, you're a dangerous trap to me. You set your things on man and not the things of God. He was saying, Peter, grow up. Be a man. Be God's man here. That's what he's communicating. Number 3, it's a shift from, you're not the whole story. You're a part of the story, but you're not the whole story. That's right, I'm a part of a bigger story that God is telling. I'm a part of a bigger story that God is telling with my life. I am so thankful that I'm a part of Jesus' church. I'm a part of His story, history. I'm a part of the story that He's telling. With my life, God is telling His story here. Number 4, it's a shift from being in control to bringing order. That's right. I bring order to my life. I don't have a perfect life, but I have a life in order. I don't have a perfect marriage as without blemish, but our marriage is in order, under submission to God. I don't have a perfect kids, but we were in order, under God's order, His divine order here. Listen, you can't control life. You can't control what happens, but we can bring godly order to the things that do happen to us. Number 5, it's a shift from the temporary to the eternal. That's right. There's a cry in every man that wants to live in his name to echo in eternity. And I believe by what we do as fathers and as men of God, what we do echoes for eternity in the lives of those that we have demonstrated God's love to. That's what He's called me to, not only as a dad, as a father, but as a man of God. Those seismic shifts are things that we can impart to our children, and I need to realize that's who I really want to be. I don't want to be known for what level I am on video games. I don't want to be known for what culture just tells me what I should be. I want to be known for what God has made me into and what God is making me into. So what are we going to do? I'm going to give you a couple things here that are going to help you become the man of God that He's created you to be. There's 2 things I believe that we need. We need fathers to follow and brothers to share secrets with. 2 things: fathers to follow, brothers to share secrets with. First of all, ladies, don't get offended, but it takes a man to make a man. No matter how much you try, ladies, you cannot make him into a man. It takes another man, a man of God, to make another man of God. So here's the deal. There's a difference between hanging out, having fun with the guys, and being made into God's man. Fathers to follow. A father is somebody that has a one-way relationship. A son goes to a spiritual father and asks questions. He gets advice on life. He learns competence as a husband, as a father, as an employee, as a community member, as a coach, as a volunteer, in all the things that he does. Listen, 1 Corinthians 4:15. Listen, you have lots of people guiding you and teaching you, but not many fathers. Where are the fathers? I believe they're in church. And there's men in your life. Listen, men, you need a father, somebody you can go to and ask questions. How do you find one? You find a man that's been there and is a little ahead of you, a little further down the road that you can ask questions to. Learn to ask questions. Learn to ask good questions. Listen, I believe that 9 out of 10 families right now, 9 out of 10, this is my personal opinion, are in desperate need of help. The dads need help being dads and husbands. And I'm telling you, our families would be better if we would just get a father that we could ask questions to. Maybe your dad is totally irresponsible and he bailed out on you. Doesn't make a difference. You can find a man of God, and you can go to a man of God, and you can go to him, and you can ask for help. Number 2, we need brothers to share secrets with. Now, this is a mutual relationship. Brothers who you can share secrets with. You can ask questions to back and forth. That's right. That's what we need. To be accountable. That means to accept responsibility and give an account for your actions. Somebody that we can confess our sins to. That's right. In James 5:16, confess your sins one to another, that you could be whole and healed. That's right. Somebody that when I wander off my path, the brother puts me back on path. They put me on the right way. They say, hey, get back on path here. And that's why we cover a multitude of sins. That's right. We need brothers in our lives to share secrets with, to become accountable with our lives, with our thought lives, with our words, with our actions. How are we doing at home? And we have a list of accountability questions that men can ask one another mutually. And if you email us, we'll send you a list that you can find another man that you can sit with and ask questions to and challenge one another to be not just a good man, so that you can be good at being a man. That's what we all crave and desire. That is what we really, truly want. So listen, in your journey to become God's man and finding a father to follow and a brother to share secrets with, listen, we all struggle in life as a man at one point or another. But so where do we find the joy? The joy isn't trying to find perfection, it's progress. That's right. Listen, I can't change your yesterdays, can't change the way you grew up, can't change your neighborhood, your community, your family. But we can change our tomorrow, and how we do that is we find joy in making progress. You know, it's just like our kids. We celebrate progress, not perfection. When they learn to pick up all their clothes and put them in the hamper, when they learn to clean the table, when they learn to wash dishes, when they learn to help around the house, we celebrate those things, and we find great joy in them. It's not that they do them perfect. It's that they're making progress in becoming mature. I believe God, my Father in heaven, finds great joy in you and me when we make progress. So let's put out of our minds that we're looking for perfection, and let's just look for progress. That's what we should be looking for. That's what we should be longing for. So how do we gain the competence and skills to become the man of God that He's created us to be? And we can live all those points together, and we can demonstrate to our children and the next generation what we want them to know, what do we want them to be, and what kind of practical skills do we want them to have, and all those things. Listen, that's what we need. But we also need a steady influx of some of competence and skills. And that's what we need to do, is step into maturity, being fully present and being intentional. Yes, we do need the Word of God, and we need a community. We need a church community. We need a community and a brotherhood of men. And that's why at Bridge City Church, we want to have a brotherhood. We're longing to create a place where men can unapologetically stand up and be God's men. That doesn't mean making excuses. That doesn't mean we laugh at men. Listen, we all fall short, but we help one another up because we have fathers and brothers in our lives. Hey, I just want to leave you with some great books that I have read that have helped me so much in becoming a man of God and as a father and passing something on to the next generation. Raising a Modern Day Knight, and The Intentional Father, which I already mentioned to you. The Silence of Adam, and then there's almost like a sequel, or rewrote it to Men of Courage by Larry Crabb. Superb book, I can't recommend enough here. And then Every Man's Battle. That's awesome. And Who's Got Your Back? That's another book here. Listen, that all of these books can be practical helps to you to become the man of God that He's created you to be. So from the heart of a father, I want to speak to all men out there just for a moment as I close this time with you. I want to let you know that it can be done. What I shared with you, I know can be done. I want to let you know that you're not alone. You're not alone. Get yourself a church community so that you know you're not alone. Listen, and I believe in you. I believe that together we can become the men of God that He's designed and created us to be. And we can live that definition of a true man of God. Hey, thanks so much for spending this time with me. I hope and pray that you're encouraged and that you're telling all your friends about this awesome, awesome church you found, Bridge City Church. Hey, we'll see you next time.